anthropology, even up until like maybe 30 years ago, was like horseshit.
And in 30 years, they'll say the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same with psychology. Every 30 years, they're like, yes, we irreversibly fucked up a lot of people. But now we're right this time. Really, you should just pick any school of psychology except lobotomies.
Yeah.
And then you're as right as anyone else.
Well, that's like the thing with the social sciences that deal with like the human mind.
Yeah.
Is that you're eventually going to figure out that a lot of the stuff you've been doing before was either A, wrong, or B, half wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, similar with like schooling methods. Everyone's like, oh, here's the thing that gets like a higher testing score, which means like the kids are doing better and like whatever. But and then every time it comes out, it's like, damn, kids still hate school, even though we did something that kids thought was interesting. And it's like, yeah, because you tried something new on a kid for a week, and they're like, wow, this is new and exciting. And then what you did was you still locked them in a building for 4 years, and we're like, are you still having fun?
Breaking news, Jordan Peterson has emigrated from Canada.
Yeah, he finally sold his home. He's moving to Arizona.
We are so fucking bad.
His house is for sale.
So that
How much?
$2.3 million.
No,
How
2.2.
Why are you even asking?
That's $500,000 for each of us. We could have the Teaneck house.
The National Post is $2.3 million.
This is Bop House.
He's moving to Arizona so he can plow his daughter. He's weird about his daughter.
I thought his daughter was weird about him. I thought it was she like kidnapped him and made him eat raw meat or something.
I think it goes both ways. Please
I was
tell me
talking
about that.
to
Thank God.
I was talking to
now I can be sued for.
Wait, we are recording.
Yeah.
So Jordan, we are breaking the news. Jordan Peterson has left Canada.
Yeah.
His house is for sale.
Yeah.
It's $2.3 million.
we do take donations.
That's our first Patreon goal, I think.
If we could get a sponsorship
$2.3 million to
for
buy
like
his house.
for $2.3 million in sponsorship money, we would do a lot. If you're like a IDF landlord, pay attention.
Yeah.
I'll take a house.
Yeah. Yeah, so Jordan
That
Peterson,
fucking rocks, man.
he's gone. I think a listener, I won't say who, I learned of this through a meme he just sent me.
Yep.
Jean Chrétien, quote, liberal, 10 years of allowing Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Paul Martin, quote, liberal, 2 years of allowing Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Stephen Harper, conservative, 9 years of allowing Jordan Peterson. Justin Trudeau, quote, liberal, 9 years of allowing Jordan Peterson. Mark Carney, all caps, real liberal. Stop Jordan Peterson in 4 months.
Is the one thing we can be happy with Mark Carney for.
This will save his legacy, really.
Why stop there? Let's get all these fucking who else is a Canadian get the Nelk boys out of here.
Who the fuck are the Nelk boys?
You know what? Your life is much better now. Who else? Who's embarrassing us as a Canadian? Justin Bieber, get the fuck out of here.
He lives in California.
Who?
Justin Bieber's not living in Canada anymore.
Oh, well, good.
He gets his peaches down in Georgia. You know.
Who we got? We got Ryan Reynolds needs to go.
Ryan Reynolds needs to go. Yeah, fuck Ryan Reynolds.
A lot of people fuck with Ryan Reynolds. I'll stop it, man. Fuck Ryan Reynolds.
So like
Ryan Letourneau can stay.
I like kind of blocked out for a while that Ryan Reynolds' voice just sounds like that. And then once I watched like maybe a third of like whatever that awful video game movie he was in like 4 years ago.
Pixels?
No. The one where it's like, New Guy, isn't it? Or something. Yeah. It's
New
like
Guy,
video
something
game
like that.
shit.
Yeah.
Mario movie.
When I realized that his voice just like was that, I was like, I can't listen to this man anymore.
Yeah.
This like. So I'm gonna say something here. Hey, get ready to bleep out what I get ready to bleep it out. But
is this related to your job again? Is this confidential information related to your job?
No. It's just that his voice makes him sound like a fag.
Like, that's not even.
Yeah. Not even that is.
You're gay. You're allowed to say that.
Yeah.
I don't think you understand. Like the scope of how much worse things you said.
How much more libelous?
Yeah.
Look, even though Nana at one point went on air saying we need to cut down on the amount of gay in this podcast, it still flies.
Okay, trust me. We have like 2 heterosexuals and a bisexual.
Yeah.
So I need to make sure that we have enough gay energy here.
Yeah.
Because Nana isn't gaying it up.
I'm
enough.
not gay enough for.
He's no. It's not that you're gay enough. It's not you're not gaying it up enough.
My bad. My bad.
Not flamboyant enough. I
My
guess.
bad.
And even I'm not that flamboyant. I just have an
pretty
annoying
butch.
voice.
We started jockifying you.
Yeah.
You've only got
Exactly,
more
yeah.
butch.
We've got him in the football programs.
Yeah.
On our first live show, I'm gonna actually be ripped. I'm gonna actually finally have chest hair. I'm gonna show up in like a stringer tee and like bike shorts that the inseam goes like into my groin.
Yeah, you got to get like 1.25 inch inseam jean shorts.
And 0.2% body fat.
Yeah, the type of shit that they were rocking back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I gotta become a bulimia gay.
Jesus. Okay.
Okay, well, here.
Let's start with the first story.
Well, back from vacation, all right?
Yeah.
I forgot how you were supposed to do this. There's all those memes that are like a guy sitting in a gray cubicle for like 80 hours a week, and he's like, dang, I forgot that this is what life was really about.
Yeah.
Got into town. I spent 3 days just reading Marx while getting blasted.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I forgot what life was really about, man. That shit was... It hits like nothing else. It is written so clearly that even if you're off of like 4 mules and some caparascas, like you're sitting there like 10 ounces of liquor deep in the early afternoon, and it still just hits the same and you can still read it. I'd recommend it to anyone listening to this.
Which books?
I did it. It was mostly the manifesto was what I was
right,
focusing on for this one, and a bit of Rosa Luxemburg.
Yep.
And then I did a couple other essays about like, I don't know, I just picked up a book with a bunch of little essays and I was enjoying my time.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rosa, I don't know. I need to turn them on to Alfalfa some Conf.
Oh, that was a good song. Yeah,
Yeah.
Liam shared a song with me that was pretty good. He'll send it to you after, I guess.
Yeah. It's
But
like a German.
Speaking of what it's all about, Reddit comments.
Oh, Jesus.
Our first story today.
The Discourse reporters, we are back live. It is July 15th.
This is
I think when it comes to the Canada subreddit, there are 2 schools of thought. There are people who find it so Hitlerian they can't look at it. It's like
Yeah.
the sun.
me.
And then there are people who find it who are it's so Hitlerian that it's like, this is the funniest, dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm in the second camp. I love browsing the r/Canada comments.
Yeah.
I saw this story. First Nations launched legal challenge against Ontario federal bills 5 and C5. We've talked about those bills in the past.
Wait, they're both called Bill 5 in some regards.
Well, I mean, C5... so the way bills are named in Parliament is like algorithmic, right? So they don't really have control over it.
Are you sure? This is probably some sort of vast Carney Ford
It's
conspiracy.
a psyop.
Yeah, it's a psyop by Carney and Ford to like destroy Indigenous sovereignty in this nation. They're coordinating their actions.
I mean, I think, honestly, the reason the bills are so low in number is because this was 2 of their top priorities was doing this.
Yeah, destroying Indigenous sovereignty.
Exactly. But anyways, First Nations are not happy about it. They're launching legal challenges claiming that these bills violate treaty rights. Now, these bills are about development and building things, right? Mostly mines and pipelines and such things, which would obviously destroy or run through the treaty enshrined territories of these people.
Yeah, and not only would it like run through treaty lands or be on treaty lands and all of that, but based on the fact that they're getting rid of environmental protections, with the history of mining in Canada and mining companies in Canada, it would also ecologically devastate these lands, poison all of the waters.
Yeah.
We had Sarnia, everyone stopped giving birth to men for like 4 years because there were so many chemicals. And, like, we're just going to do that again.
Dare I say, based?
Okay.
No more men.
So the Canada subreddit was not happy.
Yeah.
Right?
When aren't they?
They're sort of like liberal Nazis on here. That's how I would put it. So I'll just read out some choice ones. Sigh. If only all Canadians were equal. Alright, next one. This is great news, actually. The more backlash against this never-ending grift, the more likely it is that one day we stop prostrating ourselves to this cause. And then someone replied, yeah, I don't think they realize that the more they do this, the higher the chance of an extreme politician who runs on a, quote, let's just destroy every treaty. They keep getting in the way that benefits Canadians will become a serious threat. This is a theme in a lot of First Nations discourse on the Canada subreddit. The idea that First Nations operate by this system of extortion, where they receive humongous bribes from the government that is then pocketed by the chiefs and never distributed to the tunes of billions and billions of dollars. Right? So,
I mean, even if that were the case, I would still support it 100%.
next comment.
That'd be like reparations.
Yeah, the funny thing is they're like, oh, in the future, at some point, someone's going to come through and put something through that gets rid of all of their treaty rights. And it's like, that's what they're doing right now.
That's what they're trying to do right now, and what they've been trying to do since this fucking country was founded.
Yeah. I have my personal favorite. It's just 3 lines of a longer comment. I'm not sure if you're going to get to the
I'll
same
get
one.
to that one.
Okay, sounds good.
So, now, not everyone on the Canada subreddit is insane Nazi. People do push back. Someone replies to another comment that I won't read. The treaties, both existent and potential, are enshrined in the Constitution. The only 2 ways they can be revisited are with the consent of the signatories or through a constitutional amendment. So this person is saying, if the First Nations don't like these projects, they are equals in this treaty. They can say no, right?
Yeah.
Someone replies, it's a piece of paper. It can be ripped up. Poland had treaties with her neighbors before they were carved up for centuries. Either compromise with Canada or get ready to see all the treaties reneged on. We don't give a shit anymore. But also, like, he's assuming the role of, like, I guess, Nazi Germany or something in this comment.
Yes.
Poland had treaties with all, and I guess he kind of explicitly does.
I love how he actually goes to, we should be Nazi Germany.
Well,
he doesn't beat around the bush and say, like, oh, other countries have, like, torn stuff up like this in the past. He's like, you know who did this to Poland? We should do that.
Well, I'll get to that. Our more conventionally liberal replier says, it's the Constitution. The courts will not recognize the act and will order cessation of all contrary action. You seem to confuse international and internal law. And then the guy replies again. You seem to think a piece of paper will stop blood and flesh people who don't give a shit anymore. The law forbade the American and French revolutions, and the actions of the National Socialists didn't stop them from breaking those laws. So, putting the Nazis on the same moral level as the French Revolution.
Yeah.
And then also calling them the National Socialists. That is a red flag, I have to
Actually,
say.
I didn't take that in. Yeah. Which normal person just said, let me use your full government name
I'm also
for the
going to
Nazis.
push back on that because a lot of, like, the Nazi seizure of power kind of happened through, like...
Legalistic means.
Legalistic constitutional means within the Weimar Republic.
Yeah.
Like, that final seizure of power was done by a vote in Parliament.
There is someone who said we should get rid of the monarchy because all the treaties are between the Crown and these First Nations, which is like, I don't think it's not like you can't just declare bankruptcy to treaty obligations. It's not like when the Soviet Union collapsed, Russia was still on the hook for a bunch of international treaties, and like when Austria became Austria-Hungary, they didn't suddenly stop having to like recognize the Prussian control over Germany or whatever. Right, it's like
they didn't stop recognizing Prussian sovereignty over Silesia.
Yeah.
They didn't immediately go like, takesy backsies.
Actually, that treaty's now void because we're no longer Austria. We're also Hungary now. Yeah. It's like this is almost like
we've seen people states try to do that in the past, and that's almost never worked.
It's like, reminds me of that Onion article where it's like U.S. fakes coup to get out of national debt.
This was my counter-inflation strategy, which was in like a very short amount of time, print like a fuck ton of money, do everything you need to do, like to get it. How do I say? Put a ton of money out there, pump up inflation numbers and stuff like that, make it so that it is done in like a progressive way so poor people get more money or something like that. Make it 100 times inflation, right? Make the like 100 loony, that is worth $100.
Okay.
Get rid of the loonie and then rename the 100 loonie to the loonie.
Oh my god.
So wait,
this guy's trying to rebase the currency.
Yeah, just redistribution of wealth instantly.
Are you just saying that we should just replace the $100 bill with a coin?
And then get rid of everything below that.
It's essentially, it's just bullshit.
Wait,
bullshit.
He's doing fucking Mugabe-nomics right now. Yeah.
Inflation switched on.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, the whole point of having a treaty is so that you can't look at deals you have and just be like, I don't want to play with you anymore.
But it's also like, the reason we have these treaties is because when there isn't a defined agreement between the colonial power and the First Nations, historically, it's led to a guerrilla war that neither side wants to happen.
Yeah.
Right? We've done this before. There's a reason these treaties exist.
Yeah.
It's not. We didn't do this for fun. And we definitely didn't do it out of the goodness of our hearts. Like, this is not going to end well if you rip them all up. All right, next comment. I say this one for Spencer. I love this one. Considering we can't even remove a couple of bike lanes in Toronto without it raising charter issues, these indigenous groups will absolutely get their injunction and probably more.
By the way, the removal of bike lanes has been delayed. We are so fucking
The
back.
legal system in this country is a joke.
Also, again, this guy, so many little things
Yeah.
in like this Chud's comment. Just like calling the Nazis the National Socialists. Like, literally only in Germany is it like in common speech to say call the Nazis National Socialists.
Yeah.
Anyone outside of it is usually right wing.
Yeah.
Like moaning about the bike lanes. I mean, that's like just like at this point window dressing, because obviously it's just like such like a right wing and centrist canard to complain about like treaty obligations in this country.
Yeah.
Because they're like they operate under the idea that this is like like we subdued indigenous people the same way that the United States did through like active violent war and genocide, rather than just like double dealing at the treaty table.
Mm-hmm.
I also do like the comparison this person has with the bike lanes.
Yeah.
Because the great thing about the whole bike lane debate is that everyone constantly has these like, bike lanes are a major crisis. They're a major crisis. If we have all these bike lanes, it'll be a major crisis. But it just never happens.
Yeah.
And it's similar to like this kind of developmental stuff. Is everyone's like, oh, if we don't allow mining companies to just destroy and like make the land more toxic up north, it'll be like a productivity crisis. But the profits don't come back to you. Like, it doesn't matter for the average person. It's kind of like Alberta. They doubled their oil production since, like, 2008, are constantly complaining that the government's getting in the way of oil production, and they've had the slowest wage growth in Canada, despite, like, making the most out of natural resource money.
What can you do?
It just...
Final comment. I love this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think you found this one, Spencer.
Yeah.
First and second generation Canadians form 1/3 of the total population. The first generation likely never sat through the Canadian curriculum that taught about the Iroquois, the Squamish, and the Mohawks. I'm going to stop the comment right there. The Mohawks are a member of the Iroquois Nation. I don't know why that's separated out.
He could think
It's
of, like,
because
two...
this asshole is just an idiot.
Yeah, doesn't know that.
He probably was like... Iroquois Mohawks, that's two. Hits Google for the third one.
Yeah.
It's like, that's,
Honestly,
we'll call it a day
we're the
there.
Squamish, BC, right?
Mhm.
So maybe this guy's just from BC, and then he's like, I gotta name two Eastern ones. And then
Yeah.
he honestly, he probably was probably thinking of the Mi'kmaq, the ones in New Brunswick.
Maybe.
Yeah. The second generation was taught that all white Canadians are colonizers. Probably they'd agree. In a few more generations, say 100 years, white Canadians will no longer be a majority in this country.
Great replacement, sneaking its way in.
The Chinese, the Indians, the Algerians, the Nigerians. None will care about the First Nations. My guess is that these First Nations are aware that the grift is coming to an end in the very near future. They are simply trying to loot the coffer one last time before the party ends.
Now, despite the 1,000 agreeing Hitler speech bubbles, I love the concept of great replacement theory, but for Algerians. Who thinking of the great replacement is obsessing over Algerians?
I mean, the French.
Like, the guy who came up with the great replacement was a French guy freaking about like Algerians,
Yeah, most
and,
Algerians moved to
sub-Saharan
France.
West
So, like,
Africans.
I guess I'm thinking like in Canada though.
But, like, again, they go
most
to Quebec.
Canadians don't even know Algeria exists. I'd be willing to bet.
Yeah,
Well,
you know,
I mean,
no,
if you
he-
live in Quebec.
he has a
I
good
mean,
point.
I would say
think-
most anti-immigrant sentiment in Canada is anti-Indian, at least in
Yes.
English Canada.
So maybe this guy constantly moves every single week between Ontario, where he can name 2 indigenous nations,
One.
potentially BC,
He can name one.
right?
Yeah.
One and a quarter,
Yeah.
or BC, and then looking up once from Ontario, or now lives in Quebec because there are like Algerians in his closet after.
I don't
midnight.
think he lives in Quebec. I like the amount of Algerians in Quebec versus like, I don't know, mention any other West African country, Togo or Benin or fucking Sierra Leone. No, do they speak French? They don't speak French.
Sierra Leone was a British colony.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was basically
Okay,
like...
there are 70,000
There's-
Algerians in all of Canada.
Yeah, there's so many there's so many
Yeah.
other populations you could think of. You were thinking of like
I think there are more
Great Replacement
Azorians
Theory.
in Canada.
for French
Okay,
people
like-
before you mention Algeria. I think you just Googled
Is there like
what
a
African
larger
countries speak
North
French.
African immigrant
Yeah.
population in Canada than Algerians?
I don't know.
Because like again with Quebec's weird quirk, they get a lot of immigrant like from their own like we don't want English speakers in this province. They get a lot of like immigrants from West Africa or like former African colonies of France.
I mean, honestly, I assume he's just importing European race discourse in that comment because
Yeah.
Algerians come up a lot in European Great Replacement.
But I also think that like the only way you'd be that clued in about Algerians is if you're like a francophone.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he also mentions the Squamish, which is a weird one to bring up if you're not in BC.
But I think like,
Yeah, no, this guy's from BC for sure. I think because the Squamish.
I mean, but what else? What other group in BC like would you bring up if you're a Canadian trying to think of like BC indigenous groups?
Haida is the main one, I think, right? Because they got the island named after them, and they did like
Also, like, as an aside, like, huge glow up to, like, renaming the islands Haida Gwaii instead of, like, the
Princess Charlotte Islands,
Yeah.
which sound like they could be anywhere in Canada.
Bennett, run one of those stalking things on his account. See if we can find out what city he's from.
We need to dox this man on the podcast.
Well, we
Anyways,
glad to see Algerian
there are literally
representation.
more Azorians in Canada than Algerians. There's like 80,000 Azorians.
Well, that's because they're all fucking Portuguese. And, like, half of the European population of Toronto is Portuguese anyway.
Yeah. Oh my god. Wait, I ran an analysis on this guy's... I ran this guy through Reddit Métis. Least wholesome comment. The prison population, along with the length of sentences, needs to be tripled at the very least.
Okay, so this guy's definitely a Yankee then.
Yeah, this guy.
This guy is Canadian.
No, because
according to
Canadians
Analyzer.
are doing their Californian prison shit right now. Polyev, everything he was saying about the prison system was just what they did in California.
Yeah.
His most mentioned word on word frequency, like word longer than actually literally any word, including the word the, is immigration. A lot.
Actually, okay. This is my fucking conspiracy here, man. This is I'm immediately after the election happened, right? r/Canada went from being like terrible and toxic. The federal election happened. This happened both with America and with Canada's elections. And immediately after the election, it just becomes kind of like sunshine and rainbows, grassy fields for a while. And it's like actually pretty nice. You get your news, everyone's pretty civil. And then it's been a few months now, and now every single comment section is like Hitler versus Mussolini.
Okay, this guy is
Epic rap battles of history. Who won?
This
I
guy.
have no idea what you're on.
This guy is from Montreal and now lives in BC.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that explains why he thought Algerians, because that's where all of them live in Canada. And then it's Squamish because he moved to BC.
All of them except your barber.
Yeah. Yeah, my barber's Algerian. Who's like the only Algerian besides the professor at Queen's that taught, what was it? Cybersec or something?
Yeah.
That's
Love
the
that
only
bastard.
two.
No, he taught operating systems.
Yeah, those are the only two Algerians I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's the comment section at r/Canada.
I tried doing a little bit of analysis on this because this was getting in my head for a little while, and I had a long drive, so I had time to think about it. I think this is something that I said was like, well, I was trying to call Carney Hitler a while ago, and I think I did a transition that was like thinking of people who are rallying on like small business and nationalism and all of that to like resolve their economic crises. This is what happens if you're like doing it, if you're trying to go through an economic crisis by being like, actually, instead of doing like international business, we should rally around our national bourgeoisie, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone has to come up with like, actually, Canada has their own national spirit and pride. That's the only way this works. And now everyone in this comment section is like, oh yeah, these new immigrants don't know Canadian national spirit and pride.
Yeah.
And it comes out as being turbo Hitler.
You know what? This is like the exact same thing in Germany. How the like white Germans freak the fuck out about like immigrants importing anti-Semitism, and not being like good Germans because they don't like they're not
Israel.
good. They don't like no, but like they don't pick up Holocaust education in the way the German state wants them to. There was like specifically a case I remember in a news article like almost a decade ago now where like this Turkish woman was like when she like as a part of a state tour of something of like a Holocaust museum, she said, "Wait, is this gonna happen to me?" Because of like the insane anti-immigrant rhetoric in Germany, they're like white German grad freaked the fuck out, and you're like, no, you're fucking wrong.
Well, Holocaust exceptionalism is a huge issue in genocide studies, especially in Germany, right?
Yeah.
The idea that like actually it's only a genocide if you do the Holocaust exactly against Jews.
Yeah, genocides are kind of like how I always want to talk about recessions and all of that, where it's like we have one indicator for was something a genocide, and it's like did they kill 6 million Jews from 1943 to 1944 in like this region of the world? Yeah. If that's not the case, it can't be.
Anyways,
with recessions and stuff like that, we're just like, oh, did the GDP go down for several quarters? Then even if every other indicator is right, it's wrong.
Oh, sorry.
They got to do an array of things.
I also wanted to like expand on that one fucking comment. I think the second one you read off about like this person kind of implying that like once like white people were in the minority in Canada, the like non-white immigrant or immigrant descended population of Canada will like no longer be interested in like engaging with Indigenous people in any way. And it's like, well, most of the white population or a large part of the white population in Canada now is not like Anglo or
they're
French.
not old stock. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of white Canadians are like Italian or German or whatever, or Ukrainian.
Yeah, I'm like
wait, what's old stock then?
Old stock is
it was like a racist term Stephen Harper came up with, but it mostly...
No, it's not. He did not come up with it. It's a very old racist term. It refers to like white Canadians. There's also a French term, pure lang, right?
Pure wool.
They both refer to the idea of like people whose ancestors came here before like the year 1800, basically. Like if your ancestors were in the first waves of English settlement or even further back in French settlement.
Oh, then you're.
Although I think some of it's also like pre-Confederation, like the conception.
Like
now.
Like a lot of old stock is like, oh, if you had ancestors fighting the War of 1812, then you're old stock. Or like if you had like ancestors who came here with Champlain, then you're pure land or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
let's get to our first.
I want to say I'm going to wrap up the comments by saying these comments reminded me of a Turbo Hitler comment I saw on Instagram. If Marxists dropped the internationalism and progressive social politics, they'd win most of the right in seconds.
If Marxists became right-wingers, they would win the right-wingers.
Wait, no, they did that. Some Marxists did drop the internationalism and became right-wingers in the fucking Second International. Like, this is historically...
Kautsky speech bubble.
Speaking of dropping internationalism and progressive social politics, Spencer, you had a long series of articles to talk about Carney.
Carney.
I've just been really hating on Carney lately, which is like nothing new for a fella such as myself. But the one thing did happen, which is our favorite newspaper, the National Socialist Post, did another Inside the Mind of Mark Carney because we took 17 centuries to talk about the comment section, I won't read the whole thing, but it's essentially just talking about how, like, Carney ran on elbows up and then hasn't really done anything. So it starts with, like, the slogan was elbows up, not we're gonna hit you with our elbows, or I'm intending to use my elbows defensively. Because Carney has just, like, not really resisted Trump in any significant way, at least publicly, that we've seen. Trump woke up one day, heard that there was a digital service tax that might be applied on his fabulous tech sector of California, and then complained about it to Carney. And within like 12 seconds, Carney got rid of the tax, said that it would be scrapped entirely, not just set to 0% or not done retroactively or something like that. And he said it would be set to never return.
Just one real quick. What is a digital service tax?
Yeah, the digital service tax was essentially something that was meant... It was a tax that was meant to be put on major tech platforms and all of that. Because these tech platforms... like they have their own way of displaying news articles. They take all different other articles. People will read the headlines on them, not look at news. They generate a ton of like traffic. People post their stuff. They do business on these websites.
Yeah.
And these websites don't really contribute to Canada at all, spare what the platform does in general.
Right.
So they said, okay, we'll put a tax on it to like make it so that as people view news and stuff like that in the digital platforms, then the news networks that had the articles that were being posted would get like a cut of the tax and all of that.
Gotcha.
And it made sense. But then a bunch of places just said, we're going to stop hosting Canadian news. And it became a whole issue, even though they like fully could and they still would have made money. They didn't because they want to make all of the money. And
also,
everyone was saying cave and all of that.
This could be it could like allow other countries to start doing similar things, right? Didn't Australia have something with the news, like with the news tax, and then we copied that, which like is why you can't find like Canadian news on Facebook or Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was a big news story quite a while back, and the tax was supposed to retroactively pay for like a few years from when it was initially getting drafted. So it would have been, I forget if it was $7 or $11 billion instantly, and Carney just scrapped it instantly by caving in like less than one day because Trump learned that it was going to be put out the next day. So I imagine like Meta or whatever got a lobbyist through to Trump and said, you got to stop this now, man. And he did. And then my favorite thing about this was like, liberals are on their like QAnon grind set now in defending Carney, where they're like, you don't understand, this is a 4D chess maneuver. Carney's gonna win every single trade deal and Trump's gonna think that like it was his idea, and like all of these just strange things. But like there was no resistance, there was no deal out of it. It was just everything was happening. Trump stopped it to get a concession. And then by giving up all the concessions, things continued on as normal, just losing a bunch of concessions.
So if there's a Carney Q movement, a Carney movement, so to speak, when he loses the next election, do you think there will be a group of wine moms and blue sky dads descending on Parliament to do a Jan 6th?
Oh.
Man.
I think still in the head of the wine moms and blue sky dads, I think they're still doing the, Carney just wants to get in because he knows he's the only guy who can actually win against Trump in discussions and dealing. So he wants to get in, win that, and then get out because he's so smart. Only time will tell, man. I got no clue how these people are going to evolve. There's got to be like some growing dissonance, like there has to be, because he's just doing Polyev, but he talks a little bit nicer.
It's the same. I mean, like speaking of QAnon, it's like I don't know what they call it, but like the idea that you believe so strongly in this one thing that if anything mentions something that could shatter your reality, you'd rather double down on that belief rather than accept any kind of idea that QAnon isn't real or some shit like that. The liberals would rather do that than accept any concession to the fact that Carney has done one bad thing. I think everything has to be. This sounds like Trump supporters, actually. Everything has to be part of his grand plan to somehow free Canada from the grips of the United States.
Yeah, it is anyone who tries to criticize Carney on the internet immediately just gets like attacked relentlessly from everyone, even a lukewarm criticism.
Yeah.
Like nothing crazy. It reminded me of, I couldn't find the article, but there was an article that was about someone in like the Democrats, and I just thought it was like a Mark Carney-esque thing that someone would say based on the comments I was reading, where it's like, Mark Carney stared into the abyss. The abyss blinked.
That's fire. How did they come up with that?
I think I sent you. There's an account on Instagram where they do Mark Carney thirst edits.
Yes.
I think I sent Spencer one of those. That one rocks. I love that.
I've seen a few of those. His winks.
Yeah.
I get those every now and then in my feed. You've poisoned it. Every now and then I'm forced to remind that people. Actually, I'm not sure if the person making that has to be someone who loves him. I'm too brain broken by new generation PPC being so fire. Yeah. And like I'm ironic potentially. Yeah. I mean that one was ironic. It has to be. I still think that people are ironically like thirsting for Carney. I think they actually are.
I think so, yeah.
The actual tariff updates with all of Carney's 4D chess maneuvers, tariffs are just going to happen anyways. I think he set like 35% tariffs is what it's looking like.
Didn't he say... No, I might be misremembering this, but someone... No, I think... Okay, he just said something like, Canada can't survive without the U.S. I don't think it was him, actually. Let me not falsely attribute a quote to this guy, but... I mean, you get the feeling that I know for a fact that he believes Canada cannot survive without the U.S. as like its best friend, and to some extent that might be true. But obviously, you can't say that when your literal slogan was elbows up to fucking beat up on the United States. So he's got to like do these little things here and there like to look like he's doing something when nothing has moved since he became president, like a prime minister. He's
put in like a few anti-worker bills.
Yeah.
He has given concessions either like for the border bill. Like that was a concession to Trump. Military spending, concession to Trump.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the digital service tax, concession to Trump. And what's the result of all of this? Like we're still getting tariffs and stuff like that. I think he did get rid of some of the interprovincial tariffs, but I'm still just not sold that that's going to do nearly as much as anyone advertised it to. Because everyone always, like, every economist will be like, oh, if you have perfect free trade, life could be a dream. And it's never happened.
Who's this true for right now? Like, for maybe like 10 people, but like if you're taking a country as a whole, I don't think life is a dream for anyone under free trade agreements. And the worst part about the NATO concession is like that he actually said, y'all not gonna get anything because we have to fund the military. He said like, oh, get ready, we're gonna cut back on welfare and social spending just so we can, I don't know, have like 2% the power of the United States military. It's so bad.
I think I was looking, the numbers are all theoretical still.
Yeah.
But I love the Liberals being like, I trust him to do cuts with a scalpel instead of an axe that Poilievre would. And it's like, he's cutting 15% of the government, bro. He's not even using a hand axe. He's like dropping bombs on it.
Yeah. What percentage of the U.S. civil service was cut by Doge?
I have no idea because Doge got extremely messy. Where they were like also hiring a ton of people back.
Yeah.
And then like refiring and stuff like that. I never ended up with like a solid view of like the total outlook of Doge after the fact.
So they tried to cut it by 75%, but
Holy
they didn't.
Shit. Mm-hmm. I would say, if I was to put a number, I would say definitely more than 30%.
Okay.
75 would be crazy.
Spencer, you hate Carney.
Gert?
But you're not doing nothing about it. You know who is? 4 enterprising young veterans in Quebec.
Holy shit.
Cinema.
RCMP charges military members allegedly plotting to form militia and steal land.
This is just like classic white person activity in North America.
Yeah, Lord forgive some fellas have a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mounties said the group was involved. So 4 members, 2 current and 1 former members of the armed forces, and 1 cadet instructor, which is technically a civilian role and not really part
Was
of
that the
military.
33-year-old groomer?
It did not say which one was which. But they did really say...
I'm just going to imagine that the 33-year-old's the cadet instructor.
Yes. Marc Aurel Chabot, 24, of Quebec City, Simon Anger-Audet, 24, of Neuville, Quebec, and Raphael Lagacé, 25, of Quebec City, and then Matthew Forbes, 33, of Pont Rouge, Quebec. The 3 veterans were all members of the Royal 22nd Regiment, which is like the actual combat-ready regiment from Quebec, the Royal Vendus. And then the 4th guy was a cadet instructor in the Air Force.
Wait, they were working for the RCMP?
No, these guys were all in the military.
Oh, true.
The
The RCMP has their own scandal.
Right, the RCMP was a
Scandals.
Yes.
The RCMP investigated and then arrested these guys for
Gotcha.
attempting to form a right-wing militia. They had 83 firearms, 11,000 rounds of ammunition of various calibers, 130 magazines, 4 pairs of night vision goggles, and an undisclosed amount of high explosive material.
Wow.
So they're presumably going to create a right-wing terror group in rural Quebec. Now, this is not the first time that something like this has happened. In fact, this happens so often that in 2022, the Canadian government had to write a 121-page report about ideologically motivated violent extremism in the ranks of the armed forces.
Yeah, as opposed to
I wonder
non-ideologically
why.
motivated violent extremism.
I mean, because, like, realistically, the only fucking people in this country who want to join the Canadian Army are, like, schizos.
Yes, the Canadian Army is having a severe recruiting problem, partially because their infrastructure for recruiting is so degraded that it takes like a year or longer to join now.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
They provide no housing assistance. People have to live off base usually.
Nice.
And the starting salary for a private is $30,000 Canadian, and you have no choice on where you're based. So you
That's
could
like
be
half of what I make now.
you could be based in Toronto, making $30,000 a year with no housing
Oh
assistance.
my god.
You're sleeping on the sidewalk outside of base.
Yeah.
There are generally like a lot of it. Depending the bases, you'll have like options for housing, but also like if you have needs. If you're like at university or something like that, they'll station you near a university, but then you are kind of beyond that. You'll just get lumped or like jumped around a little bit. But like on one hand, people fuck with that because it means you get to do a little bit of exploring of Canada. But on the other hand, it's like you're just kind of on base.
Yeah, you could, for context, a high school student could make that amount just doing factory work at UPS. Like, there's no incentive. At least in the U.S., they give them housing. I don't know.
American veterans are pretty pampered, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, relative to Canada?
Yeah. But, yeah, there's no point. Like, it is, if you join the Army in big 2025, you got to check in with a therapist as well.
Like, if you wanted to make $30,000, you could have 3 jobs and start a podcast.
Yeah. The thing is that it's like the enlisted pay is and like the situation with recruitment and enlistment pay is so bad that Canada has one of the most top-heavy militaries in the world because we have so many officers and no one is joining at the enlistment level.
Okay, I'm gonna break the rule here, but if we're going toe to toe with like the Israeli military, what's the disparity?
Oh, it's
here?
worse than Israel.
Holy shit!
Israel has conscription, so they have a large body of conscripted, basically the equivalent of enlisted men.
Yeah,
we don't have mandatory service. We have the volunteer-only army. We have people constantly churning through the service academies in Ontario and Quebec, so we always have this but these contract officers who have to serve in the army for like 4 years, constantly graduating from RMC and the Quebec Naval Academy and the Air Force Academy, right? But then no one is joining at the enlistment level. So we basically have these guys. We have these. I mean, the army is already literally a bullshit job. It's like the goon style of bullshit job.
Also, for the Canadian military, we don't do anything. Like,
we do
even if
unquote,
everything you do is as evil as humanly possible, Israel's army does do something.
Yeah, they are
killing civilians.
They're doing a
Canada's army does
genocide.
not do anything. Like, if you work in the army, 90% of your job is just like go and work out in the morning, and then I guess all you do for the rest of the day is watch like Andrew Tate or the now gone Jordan Peterson on your phone while you wait for nothing to happen.
Anyways, apparently a large percentage of the enlisted level of the armed forces has been seduced by, quote, ideologically motivated violent extremism, entirely of the right-wing variety, especially white supremacist groups. The report did say that more needed to be done to look into left-wing extremism in the army and in Canada in general, but that they could not find any evidence of its presence in the armed forces.
My favorite thing about this is because it's right-wing stuff.
Yeah.
It's like they sat there and were like, reform or revolution, right? The right wing is winning on every front, and they were like, reforms aren't good enough, even though they would continue to win. They're like, we need revolution in favor of the status quo.
Yeah.
I just got to the part in State and Revolution where Lenin's talking about Marx's recollections of the Paris Commune, and like he's like, you have to abolish the standing army and replace it with the armed people, and at this point
Here's what I think. I think this is actually a clever ploy.
Doing national militia.
This is a clever ploy by the bourgeoisie, right? You'll get to this part in Reform and Revolution.
Yeah.
She talks about, Bernstein says, the armed forces have gotten too advanced for a proletarian uprising to defeat on its own. Mm-hmm. Right? Fair enough, right? But then she's like, who do you think these soldiers are? Robots? Like, what great mass of people are these soldiers drawn from? Mm-hmm. I think they're trying to reduce the proportion of enlisted men in the armed forces because they don't want proletarian revolution. They don't want a great mass of proletarians in the army.
Mm-hmm. Although, honestly, I'd take Rosa Luxemburg a little bit more seriously so she wasn't capped by the veterans.
Yeah, that didn't really work out for her.
If she wasn't just like...
Yeah.
If she wasn't killed by like some proto-Hitlerian veterans.
Oh my god.
Have you ever looked
That's
at the
hilarious.
people who killed Luxemburg? One of them was like too autistic for Nazism. He was the guy leading the squad. He was like an Austro-fascist.
Oh my god.
And then, when the Nazis took power, he's like, this is a corruption of Giovanni Gentile's perfect
Oh
formula.
my god.
So he
this guy was like reading Evola.
So this guy was like, he was too like woke. Like, he was too dark woke for the Nazis, even though he was the reason they were able to take power 20 years later. I forget this guy's name, the guy who killed Luxemburg. Yeah, so that's what's been going on in Quebec. Besides the apparently large number of Algerians who are threatening to overwhelm them over there.
The massive number of 70,000 Algerians in like the city of Montreal, a city of like 2 million people.
Yeah, you know it's like the problem. You know it's just kind of white supremacy, because if it is just trying to fight for like any right wing or like more market stuff, saying that like the liberals are woke and corrupt, like they're winning. They're just winning. They could win by not doing anything. So it's like it has to be great replacement shit. Because what else would they do this for? Why else do you need a revolution other than like they're corrupting the bloodline? Like
Right.
what are you fighting for? You're winning.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so this guy was Valdemar Popst, the guy who killed Luxemburg. So he never joined the Nazi Party because he considered them a perversion of perfect fascism. Mm-hmm. And then, although he was apparently on speaking terms with Adolf Hitler, so he was targeted during the Night of the Long Knives due to his personal connection to Ernst Röhm. So
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not gonna say it.
Ernst Röhm's a butt buddy.
I'm not gonna say it. And then he fled.
I'm pretty sure the communist who did the Reichstag fire also was like butt buddies with Ernst Röhm.
And then he left Germany after the Valkyrie plot, the 20th July plot to blow up Hitler.
Mm-hmm. We should watch that movie.
So he then, I guess, tried to kill Hitler and then left Germany.
Wow.
Incredible.
People forget that right-wingers do have a lot of infighting, and frankly, it's way funnier than left-wing infighting.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Because they have to find, like, pure minutia aesthetic reasons. Like, I guess the left-wing does the same.
No, I really want to know what, like, this guy's like, Hitler, man, he almost had it right, though. If only he just, what was it? What did it for you, bro? I'm so confused.
It was I can't find that information, what exactly he disagreed with, but he did say that he did advise Vichy France. He wrote a letter to them telling them to change liberty, égalité, fraternité to authority, order, justice. That's the new motto.
They did, they did change
it to like fatherland, family, country, or something.
No. It was like, I guess fatherland, family, and labor.
Yeah,
you stuttering and starting like an F word like 7 times for the country.
Yeah, labor, family, fatherland was the motto of Vichy France. So I guess he was a little bit ahead of his time.
The funny thing about like the authority, order, and like justice thing, conservatives never change.
Anyways, that's what's going on the militia front.
I have one more really short article, and then we'll get to our international news. I suppose, and it's a little letter to the editor for the Globe and Mail by a guy, Luke Maston, and he says, as the NDP reels from their poor performance in the last election, and no one seems very keen to take the reins from Jagmeet Singh, what better time is there to form an official amalgamation between the two main left-of-center federal political parties? Next sentence. Despite Mark Carney's lurch to the right.
But also, you know what? I'm
He's
sort
cooking
of,
here.
I'm in a superposition between kill yourself and holy fucking base.
Yeah.
Because in the past, we've advocated on this podcast, all the bourgeois parties should just merge into one.
Yeah.
Like, what's even the point anymore?
If they wanted to be honest, they would merge into one.
Yeah.
But you need, when one bourgeois party upsets the working class, which they will because they're bourgeois, you need people to be able to jump ship to another bourgeois party.
You need a
the
social
bourgeois
democrat.
Party and the social fascist party please merge.
Yeah, the liberal parties, they're still closely aligned. The merger seems like the only way to avoid a conservative comeback at the next election.
But it's like, here's the thing with the conservative comeback of the election. It's like, why even bother trying to stop that at this point? The liberal is slashing the federal government like he's running Doge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like who cares anymore?
Yeah,
Dude,
the two left-wing parties should merge. One of them is right-wing, and the left-wing party should join the right-wing party to stop the other right-wing party from winning. Brilliant. Brilliant.
So I think here's the intellectual part of me is like, yeah, we should merge those two bourgeois parties. But also the person writing this is like so patently and obviously stupid as to be like so annoying and aggravating that I want to just like throw a brick at him.
That's exactly where I'm at with this article.
Yeah. It's
guy's
funny
just a moron.
because he sits there and it's like he has all the puzzle pieces of like the NDP isn't really like doing that much.
Yeah.
Like they just had like a long-term thing with the Liberal Party and then proceeded to tell people to vote for the Liberal Party and then got like 0.0% of the vote.
So like kind of real question, do you think this moron would still be writing this article if like Jack Layton, curse be upon him, removed socialism from the NDP constitution?
Yeah, I don't think he will.
But I think also it's like if we were in a Britain situation, like not now, but like a 70s Britain situation where you've left Labour in charge, right? And then you got the far right of the Tory party basically in charge of that. Yeah. And then you've got the anemic, tiny little shrivel of the Lib Dems in the center, right? Do you think this guy...
We've just been born out of the corpse of the Libs.
Yeah, would this guy be advocating for the Liberals to merge into an ascendant NDP to submit themselves to the NDP's
No.
agenda? No. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, like we said, with all the strategic voting,
Not unless
Look.
the NDP undergoes full libization like Labour has in Britain.
Yeah.
if the NDP had 49% of the vote, the Liberals had 2% of the vote, and the Conservatives and the PPC had 49% of the vote,
The Liberals would say stop vote splitting. That's
yeah,
what they
everyone
would say.
the Liberals would all be saying the NDP should join with the Liberals.
Yeah.
Like,
That is like at the Ontario. It's most aggravating at the Ontario level, where the Liberal Party basically doesn't exist anymore.
yeah.
And they're
Thank God.
and they're still doing shit like the Bonnie Crombie appeal to voters in Niagara
That
or
that
Hamilton.
was so
Yeah.
insane. Like you're literally not even.
You don't exist.
Yeah.
Your party is dead.
Holy shit! Like let it go, bro.
It's
Aren't
time
they
for
now-
you to go away.
Although, didn't they win back official party status?
Yeah.
But she lost her own damn seat.
Yeah, and frankly,
And they still kept her around.
maybe the Doug Ford would not have this ironclad majority if the Liberal Party of Ontario just disintegrated. If they
Yeah.
really care about just stopping the Conservatives.
Yeah, they
Why
would
don't
stop
why don't-
splitting the vote
Yeah, why don't
away
they
from
stop
our
splitting
social
the vote?
fascist party.
Yeah.
Well, I also, again, still maintain that we're never going to get an NDP government in this province until all the boomers who, like, bitch and moan about Ray Days die.
Yeah.
Well, we got one last story.
Mm-hmm.
Thing of things that are missing.
The new Superman movie.
We're
Yo,
waiting
turns
for Spencer
out
to see it.
Look,
James Gunn is woker than ContraPoints. Who would have thought?
who'd have thunk?
Well, we'll
the
discuss that. We'll
contra
discuss
points.
that next time.
Nana, when something happens to someone he doesn't care about or watch, he's got lotion on it, he's stroking his shit.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I'm not even gonna front about it. There
I
is
have never watched a ContraPoints video or any BreadTube content for that matter.
there's
Nana's, like, hater extraordinaire.
yeah, I am.
I'm not really a ContraPoints fan, but I also like never engaged with her stuff anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like 5 people who I just have six people who I have like irrationally hate for, and if people heard this list, I'd probably be deported. There's like
Okay, so
one of them one of them is a Canadian hero. Like
Okay.
all right, let's move on. Yo,
Wait, is it Terry Fox? Is it?
huh?
Is it?
It's Terry Fox.
Oh my god!
I can't stand that. Bro.
So half of people on this podcast hate Terry Fox. So you and Spencer both hate Terry Fox.
Spencer and I are best friends. It was meant to be.
Some, like, dead 25-year-old who you have absolutely no sense
Probably
of
the
his
least
personality.
problematic person to ever exist.
That's the thing. Yeah, like I know it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's like so many other problematic people who are worse than him, and frankly have more direct effect on the lives of Canadian people. But just
Okay,
Bro,
I
he
know,
didn't even make it
is
that
weird
far.
in some ways because, like, we actually have, like, no sense of that man's personality
Yeah.
because of how, like, thoroughly secularized, like, of a secular saint he is.
Yeah, he's been hagiographed, basically.
yeah.
The funniest thing Spencer has ever said to me was like, I don't like Terry Fox. He didn't even make it that far. Because he died in Thunder Bay, which is like less than halfway across the country.
Thunder Bay, 2 times most racist city in Canada. Terry Fox, look, you gotta say, like, he had heart, you know?
He made
had
it through
one
half
leg.
the provinces. He made it through 5 out of 10.
He made it through quite a lot. This poor guy got one look at Thunder Bay and just gave up.
Yeah.
He couldn't take it anymore.
Oh, man.
That's how depressing and brutal Thunder Bay is. I rest my case.
Well,
Okay,
thank
so who
God
are the
I'm
others?
a citizen. Well, I'll drop it a little bit at a time. This is too much for one episode.
Come on, you're teasing me.
All right, well, let's get to our international coverage for the episode. The most important story, and honestly, a really lifelong story for 2 of us hosts who spent a 6-hour car ride together listening to the Epstein Come Town special.
Yeah.
Compilation.
Nick Mullen versus the Hollywood elite.
Yes. And that was when Epstein was still alive. He was
Yeah.
kind of one of our boys back then, when you think about it. And,
Who's boys?
Epstein
We, bro. We. All four of us. Our boy.
Yeah, a famous friend of the podcast, Jeffrey Epstein.
That's one of my
Rest in
favorite.
peace.
One of my favorite stupid jokes is when someone says something dumb but also includes everyone around them. They're like, we agree with this.
All of us hosts of this podcast can breathe a sigh of relief. The list doesn't exist.
Yeah. The Trump administration was like, actually, there is no client list, so we can't release it. Even though, I want to say 2 weeks ago, they claimed to have it in their physical possession on the desk of Pam Bondi.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't necessarily say client list, but they said the Epstein files are on my desk, ready to be reviewed.
Yeah, it could have been easy if they just said, like, the Epstein files we have are just names of, like, every single person that Epstein ever spoke to. So it includes, like, 9,000 people across, like, 20 different countries from, like, just normal people or whatever. And then people probably would have been like, okay, that makes sense. But instead they were just like, my favorite is Trump. Because we know Trump's, like, the cattiest guy out there. We know he, like, has that to him. And he was like, you guys are still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Buddy, there's no one who would love to talk about Jeffrey Epstein more than Trump.
Yeah, I mean, he basically ran 2 election campaigns about Epstein.
Yeah, like, this is... Okay, so his name is definitely in there. And I don't think he understands, like, how much of his base actually cares about this.
Yeah, I think he's kind of like, this is the first time he's actually lost his guy.
Yeah.
Because he riled up... his core support was Pizzagate small business owners.
Yeah.
Like, guys who own rival pizza restaurants to come at ping pong. That was, like, his support base. and now he's alienated.
I think this is, like, it's kind of like the cult test, where this is the pretext that you agreed to. It's like... Trump, even when he was moving like a scammer, was part of his own conspiracy to beat out the conspiracies. He was around pedophiles because he was exposing them, or something like that. This is the time where it's like, the bottom has completely dropped out. They did the Big Beautiful Bill, which just
everyone
destroys
hates, by the way.
rural America. Everyone hates it.
Even his own supporters are like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, and then after that, so the economic bottom has fallen out. And then also with, like, the Epstein files, it's like the social bottom has fallen out now. Where it's like, if you want to still be in on it, you have to accept that nothing that you believed in was real. And I imagine enough people are, like, fine with accepting that and are just going to keep going on the gravy train.
Yeah, I mean, there's people out there who think JFK is still alive, and
well, honestly, I think a lot of them have squared the circle by saying, like, actually, he's a white hat pedophile. Like, if he releases the Epstein list, he's gonna get arrested, and we need him in office.
He's like the Hannibal Lecter of pedophilia.
Yeah, we need him in office so that he can destroy the federal government, which is our real goal.
Yeah.
Right?
But, like, even then, like, that would be, like, their bourgeois goal. Not for, like, the drain the swampers.
I mean, his primary social base is America's petty bourgeois.
And I think a lot of petty bourgeois believe that if there was a, quote, true free market, void of the government's existence, they would ascend to the ranks of the bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, again, like, just the whole petty bourgeois resentment of capitalism and the big bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
And they just
also everyone under them and around them.
Yes. Yeah. Like, anyone outside of their class. So they're like, we want to destroy the federal government because it is very obviously the tool of the big bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
And also the big bourgeoisie who support destroying it are just like, well, I'm pretty sure I could at least carve up a fiefdom out of it.
The Australian economist Bill Mitchell had this to say. Here's another theory. What if releasing the Epstein list would be a cause of the cure being worse than the disease? If releasing the list exposed global leaders, there could be massive unrest, riots, destruction. Governments could fall. Hundreds of thousands or more could die, not to mention the vast destruction of property. So would exposing the perps and 25-year-old crimes be worth destabilizing the entire world? This is the kind of question presidents must consider.
I think So
Yes, it is worth it, by the way. That's the question.
the Mossad also being like Jeffrey Epstein was not tied to Mossad. That's
Did we go into this episode say we weren't going to say a thing about Israel?
No, we've already dropped. Like,
I mean, but like, if this was the
oh my
if
god,
the
the funniest thing though was also the FBI was like, we have the tape, the raw footage.
Yes,
and then they dropped the footage that's just full of metadata. That's like they cut it up, they changed all the content.
Okay, so it seems that there's 2 points to that. One, it seems to actually have like metadata that's like this is authentic, except for the fact that it's missing a minute of footage.
Yeah.
Right around midnight.
Yeah.
And also it seems like it's the footage from somewhere else in the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because there appears to be some discrepancy of like the cell door that it's filming not being the one that Epstein was in.
They're fine with like releasing edited video footage, and they can't even like release a clients list that just has all of the names redacted or something. Like, people would be pissed if they did that, but they'd be like, the FBI's on their FBI shit, right? Like, to say that it never existed in the first place is just, it's so funny.
The funniest thing was like when they dropped that tape, and I think it was Variety or something, they posted, this video was edited with Adobe Premiere Pro on this date with 5 cuts. I'm like, damn! Oh man.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I honestly hope, and I would encourage everyone to keep fanning the flames. Bring up the Epstein list to any right winger you know, and like,
because like even if this is a whole lot of nonsense, this is just fun at this point.
Yeah, no, it is. It is
fun just making people more schizophrenic.
And I think like not for nothing, it could actually Elon used this to some extent to launch his new party, kinda, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Elon did accuse of Trump of being in the Epstein files
and then redacted
with their breakup, and then deleted the tweet. Yeah.
So yeah, anything to weaken the power of the MAGA right in the U.S. Not that it's gonna do anything to the overall right wing portion of the U.S., but yeah, keep tweeting that Epstein shit.
And it is fun because with Epstein shit, you can like everyone knows, right? It's about the friends we made along the way. Everyone knows, but like everyone has all these like old conspiracies. I forget who I was listening to, but they were like, this is gonna be like the JFK thing, where for me that's like a historical event.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Epstein, I'm like, you don't understand. He did not kill himself. Like, the people that are doing that for JFK, I understand. Because I can take a look in the mirror, you know?
Yeah. How do you compare? JFK people were there.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, man. Whatever.
Like, everything was set up. The JFK one, it's how you would pull off, like, their assassination. Like, everything lines up.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of no one does anything. And it's the same thing with Epstein. It's like, literally everything lines up and they just won't do anything. They release video footage. They can't help but release edited video footage.
Yeah.
It's like they want you to know.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. It's like, oh, the power cut for like 1 minute when everything happened. Like, the camera mysteriously broke. The guards just happened to all leave. We put him in a cell with, like, a known killer on steroids in this thing because, like, he just needs a friend.
Oh, that was the first cell.
This is so funny. It's like...
First suicide attempt.
What should we call it? Like, just you saying that, it's like I asked you, can you describe to me the best way to to kill someone and then make it look like a suicide? Like,
yeah.
Also, like, in regards to like the Epstein stuff being, because I think this was either on Stavros's new podcast or the Chapo episode I just listened to. One of them was saying that like Epstein is basically like JFK for our generation.
Oh.
At the same time, I'm also like, JFK getting his head blown up was good.
Holy Nixon fan.
Like, I think the only people... Well, I mean, boomers get weepy about it because they were like babies when that happened. Mm-hmm. But I think like leftists being kind of into it and like being like, oh, was he killed? Was this a broader conspiracy? Like, who gives a shit if he was? Like, It's good that the CIA killed him.
Yeah, true.
Well,
Same
It's
for
good when
Epstein.
the deep state eats itself.
Part of it was like, you know, he was like honeymoon phasing.
I think the
right?
only
Like,
reason to be like a leftist who's like into the JFK assassination as like a bad thing is that it did a lot. So there were 4 presidents there,
Yeah.
right? And future presidents definitely had the specter over their head in terms of how progressive they could get.
Yeah.
Of the CIA will kill me.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
definitely was something Nixon was worried about.
I mean, but the
Yeah.
thing is that being progressive is kind of like almost wishy-washy, considering that like from what it seemed like JFK was not really gonna solve the race question in the
Yeah,
United States.
but
Like we only got it solved because like Lyndon Johnson, big dick racist,
But it didn't
was also
open-
like, I want to emancipate blacks legally so that they will vote for my
me,
party.
yeah. But it did open a can of worms of this is something that can happen to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we can just kill you. It doesn't even need to be for a good reason. We could just be mad at you about Cuba.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not gonna
my
be an
knees.
anarchist this time. It's not gonna be some like schizo from like New York.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll leave off on a more somber note. The ongoing Holocaust of Latino people in the United States. They are rounding up not just undocumented immigrants, but also legal residents of the U.S.
And citizens too.
Citizens. Yeah.
Anyone who just looks Latino
Yeah.
to like American authorities.
They've constructed a literal concentration camp in the floodplain in Florida that will be destroyed next hurricane season for sure.
Yeah.
Like hundreds, or if not thousands, of people will drown the next time there is a tropical storm.
Yeah.
And you know they're not going to evacuate them or help them in it.
Yeah, you know it's gonna be just like, oh, there was a tragedy, a bunch of criminals died, and
Yeah.
America's gonna be like, oh, criminals died, whatever.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Like, this kind of illustrates how like stupid, gullible, and contemptible the average American voter is. But like, whenever they've kind of like swung back to not liking the way that immigration's being like dealt with in this country after being like turbo Hitlers during the Biden administration. And not be in part because they're like during the Biden administration the cruelty was kind of occluded, whereas like at least Trump and his administration and his base kind of gets off on the cruelty as the point.
I think most people conceptually
Yes.
are against Latin American immigration in the United States because of abstract stuff like they're
Gangs.
worried about crime or wage competition.
Yeah.
But when confronted with the real reality of Trump camp,
Of like horrific violence.
yeah, of the extermination campaign that
Yeah.
the Trump camp is waging,
Yeah.
that obviously is something they're not willing to actually engage in.
Yeah, are
Yeah.
you willing to complain about all of these things on the internet versus are you willing to have
Actually do
your
the Holocaust?
policy enacted and have your name on the like sign of turbo Hitlers?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't. I think a lot of people conceptually didn't like immigration, but practically don't want to kill millions of people
Yeah.
to do
So
it.
yeah, they would have been. That's the thing. Like Kamala was perfect for that. Like she would have done the immigration crackdown in a nice, under the
Respectable
rug.
way.
Yeah,
Because people on Twitter were saying that.
yeah,
Like, like Biden deported more people than Trump.
Yeah.
Was one of the things they were saying. What was like,
Yeah,
Which is
Biden
Biden
was
also
so good
which is also
because-
true, but also it's like a bit different now. The scale of the violence
Yeah.
that Trump is. I mean, obviously, Biden and Kamala were bad on immigration, right?
Yeah.
But it's a bit different than constructing in-country concentration camps and then also deporting citizens to an El Salvador prison,
yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Which
for sure.
is just a whole nother level of
Yeah.
insane evil.
Although I will say that throughout the Biden administration, they still did do family separation.
yeah.
But
Wait, we had Canadian jobs postings to be
Yes.
guards in the prison.
alligator
right?
Yes.
Auschwitz.
Yeah.
They were gonna hire Garda World, the Montreal security chain that actually just does security work all over Canada. So you've definitely seen Garda World uniforms. And also, it would be really strange if this like white supremacist government hired essentially a bunch of Indian guys to do concentration camp guard
Because it
work.
was like dirt cheap pay, right?
Yeah.
It was like 30K
Yes.
a year to be like an SS Galizia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's no exaggeration to say that the right wants to turn this into a new, like a Holocaust times 10.
Yeah.
Trump associate Laura Loomer had this to say: "Alligator lives matter. The good news is alligators are guaranteed at least 65 million meals if we get started now. 65 million, by the way, is the sum population of all people of Latin descent in the United States."
Yep.
That was one of the most, like you said, you can scroll and read just insane shit, and you're like, this is insane shit. Let me screenshot it and send it to, like, a couple of friends and laugh because this is insane shit. Every now and then you read an insane post and you're like, oh, we're actually here.
Yeah. But also, this is not just a post. This isn't like some chud saying billions must die.
Oh, yeah.
This is someone with influence on the U.S. government saying we will kill all of them.
Who may or may not also have been banging Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Wait, was she the one that was given hand jobs in a theater?
No, that was Lauren
That was-
Boebert.
that
Who
was-
was a
okay.
congresswoman.
Boebert was the woman who poisoned all those people in Colorado.
Her, like, restaurant gave everyone, like,
Yeah.
mega diarrhea.
You ever read the
And also the guy, it wasn't a hand job, but actually maybe
It was a hand job.
Yes, and the guy she was jacking off was like a local leader of like the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Lauren Boebert, you ever read Bone comics?
Yeah, I love
Do
those.
you remember?
Kino.
Do you remember how Phony Bone got run out of Boneville because he did the campaign thing and he poisoned the entirety of Boneville with plum tarts, and then they got run out of town?
What are these words?
Do you remember that plot point in Bone?
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's the inciting incident.
Fuck.
So, Lauren Boebert basically did the Phony Bone move in her small town in Colorado and got run out.
I think she's still like congresswoman or whatever, but she's been kind of laying low since we found out that she was jacking a guy off in a theater with where a kids play was happening.
Hey, it was a kids play?
Okay, it wasn't also like flesh on flesh, but it was like over the pants jacking off.
That's like fake, man.
That's also like
Land of the
teenager
free.
shit.
If he didn't come, it doesn't count.
If you're
And he was
doing
also
over-
like copping a feel too.
Yeah, if you're like
And she was hitting the vape in the
if
theater.
you're going over the clothes and no one comes, it's like hugging at that.
No,
point.
like
She was just doing like your average annoying horny couple stuff in a theater.
no, but
Yeah.
it's quite literally insane. Like I've seen people who go to the theater are like, to use a Liam term, are like Nazis when it comes to like maintaining theater etiquette. I saw someone like report on someone else who took one picture and then put their phone away. She went to get an usher to be like, "Yo, get this guy out of here. Let's take a picture."
But also,
Teacher!
The thing with her jerking off her romantic partner in the theater is that it's like, you should know there are cameras in the theater.
Right?
Like, they're above the screen. You can just look up and see them.
She was doing the most, hitting a
Also,
vape.
this wasn't a movie theater, but like a stage play.
Yeah.
They got cameras.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
You should know. You should, if you are in a public space in the 21st century, you are being surveilled,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? You should be willing to accept the consequences of that.
A lot of
surveillance.
older
Yeah.
people, I think, don't realize how much they're being surveilled. And I remember being like younger, and we would go to the theater, and we'd be like smoking joints and like drinking in the theater, and nothing ever happened. So like,
Anyway,
Well, if
or
you
was it with you, Bennett? No, I think it was with you guys when we went to a theater, and the only tickets that were sold were 2 tickets in the very far back corner. And we were saying, should we
yeah.
buy all the seats around them and sit
That's-
there and not let them
that's
leave?
when we went to go see Lightyear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Lightyear, there was no one.
No,
2
no,
people
I didn't
joined
see
later.
Lightyear with you guys.
Then-
I remember Spencer saying either the story or actually being there when it happened.
So the Lightyear we saw, that was when the 2 tickets thing in the corner happened, but they
Yeah.
didn't show up.
Okay.
So we were there alone for 30 minutes. Then 2 other people showed up and sat near us, but not
Yeah.
in that corner.
God, Lightyear was one of the best movie watching experiences.
That was
I have
so much. That
ever
movie
had.
wasn't even that good. But the fact that we were just straight up alone in a movie theater
That's always fun.
This was so funny because we were just heckling. We were just
Yeah.
screaming
We were
at the
screaming.
screen.
We were just screaming at the screen the whole time, and then the 2 other like people joined, and we were like, "Damn, we're gonna have to be quiet." And then they sat behind us and just started talking too.
Yeah.
Okay, this is like as I've said before, I'm like too upper middle class to have like no shame around other people. But like, I fucking wish we were like our friend group was alone in that theater for watching Madame Web.
Oh my god.
In part because I just wanted to like not have to like struggle to contain my hysterical laughter
movie
after
was-
you made that comment to me about Uncle Ben.
That movie was so bad.
Holy
But
shit,
also,
yeah.
we were in a theater that was it was like some experimental setup where it had the main screen.
And
then
there's
two side screens.
Oh.
And during action scenes, the side screens would turn on and they would just be filled with AI generated content.
Oh
basically.
fuck, that's even worse.
like you
Or
would
just
have
weird
like
margin stuff.
yeah,
that-
you would have like shit going on the main screen, and then on the side screen there would just be like these waving shapes with like random shit.
Wait, what? I hate those.
right.
Screen. I watched Deadpool in one of those. The worst experience of my life. Both the theater and the movie.
All right, we're just yapping at this point. Should we wrap up the episode?
Yeah,
I
we'll
guess?
leave it off there. I
Yeah.
guess.
I guess thanks for listening, everyone.
All right, see ya.
Catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.